Thank you, Peter. It's getting a little more exciting out here in Times Square. We're about 16 minutes away from that big ball drop, and people all over the world will be counting on that ball. It's hanging high up there. In 1904, the Times newspaper moved to what was a place called Longacre Square in those days, and subsequently became known as Times Square. First year they set off some fireworks and celebrated New Year's. In 1907 they had the first ball drop, and it's been dropping to crowds like this for 91 continuous years. Now this hour down, you can see all those Mylar wigs and the balloons and stuff. All of that was handed out courtesy of the business development people here. They're celebrating this hour, the Caribbean Islands culture, with puppets and water things, but everybody here in the crowd is looking at the ball. The crowd size has not been officially told to us yet, but if it is 2 million, it'll be the biggest one I've ever seen in almost 30 years of being out here. And as you can see by our ABC clock, we have a little more than 15 minutes still to go. It's really comfortable this year. It's really nice. I've been out here when it's been 17 degrees below zero wind chill factor, and that can really, really hurt. This crowd is having a great time. Let me give you a little update on a wedding we had 14 years ago. We've had a lot of things here happen over the years. Wayne and Vicky Chu got married, and since then, that was in 1985, they've had 3 girls and a boy. Shayna 13, Amanda 11, Cassie 8, Adam 7. They're living in North Carolina these days. We've had 2 marriages and 1 proposal, and it all happened right under the ball drop. And believe it or not, it is about to happen again in 15 minutes from now. 25% of these people down on the street there are from out of the country. They're foreign visitors. And I've always said to you as we talked over the years, this is a young person's game. Well, believe you me, you got to be young to be here. 70% of those people down there are 19 to 35 years old, and they will drop into the New York City economy about $100 million. That's the financial impact of this celebration this year. Imagine $100 million over a few days. 14 minutes to go till the ball drops, and you'll see it all happen here. The 40 legitimate theaters in the area, most of them have closed. These folks were not going to the theater in any case. They've been in here since the crack of dawn. Actually, I got up at 5 o'clock this morning and saw them begin to gather. They think the ball is moving. You can hear them screaming, but it's not. It won't drop yet. A little early. They're getting anxious. You can feel the excitement in the air, and this really, truly is a remarkable sight. All started years and years ago. And we'll be back to follow the ball drop here on ABC once again right after this.
With a 180 horsepower VVTLI engine, 6-speed transmission, 16-inch alloy wheels, a cockpit-like interior, and a price dramatically less than most jet-powered vehicles. Wings have just become overrated. Introducing the next Celica. Go!
Introducing the new AccuView 2 contact lens. So natural, it feels like you're wearing nothing at all. For a free trial pair, call us or visit your eye care professional.
Something new is here. A whole new way to take care of heartburn. Introducing Pepcid AC Gel Caps. Just one gel cap controls as much acid as a whole roll of Tums. An idea that's very easy to swallow. New Pepcid AC Gel Caps.
Thank you. No, please. Let me. There you go. You're certainly on your way, son.
We have activity.
Verify account status.
His last payment was a half-day late.
Raise his rate.
Initiating interest rate increase, sir.
If you're late with a payment, some credit cards are happy to automatically raise your interest rates. But at Discover Card? No, we don't do that. Remember, there's always something more to discover.
The Hurricane is a triumph of the human spirit and one of the best movies of the year. Time magazine calls it inspiring, a stirring and passionate story that will take your breath away. Denzel Washington is amazing to watch in the performance of a lifetime.
We gotta take it to the federal court.
Judge is gonna throw it out.
Then we transcend the law. We get back to humanity.
Golden Globe Award nominee for Best Actor, Best Director, and Best Picture of the Year. The Hurricane. Rated R. Now in select theaters. Check local listings.
capture your New Year's kiss. Save up to $12 now on select Polaroid cameras and film. Here we go. Save now before December 31st. Here we go.
A message for the fans of NYPD Blue.
Starting January 11th, NYPD Blue is back on ABC. Still on Tuesday night, still at 10, 9 Central, just like it should be.
Blue is back. The new season begins Tuesday, January 11th on ABC. Viewer discretion advised.
Thanks for still being there.
You know, in just a few seconds from now, it'll be about 10 minutes till the ball drop, and you can feel it in the air. There's a buzz. You hear that sound? They know it's going to happen, and they'll all be looking at the big ball up there on top of #1 Times Square. It's a 77-foot flagpole. Let me show you how they put this ball together and give you a couple of the statistics. It's a 6-foot ball in diameter, and they've mounted on 1,070 pounds of aluminum there. It's just covered with these crystals. There are 504 of them. They range in size from 4 3/4 inches to 5 3/4 inches long, and then again they're lighted with 168 halogen bulbs at 60 watts, by the way. And as I mentioned, the flagpole is 77 feet tall. It's 390 feet up in the air over Times Square, and that's what these people down in that little square are looking at. This is all of the design of this intricate ball, and it's brand new this year, brand new for the millennium. And of course, there are other symbols around the world. They drop an orange in one place, they light up a fountain somewhere else. But I must tell you, of all the symbols in the world that denote New Year's Eve, it's Times Square and the ball, and that's what they want to see. At the crossroads of the world, it is the place to be. And this is our 28th consecutive year in Times Square. Now, I don't think this crowd is really aware of all the preparation that went into this giant party. Awful lot of people, thousands of volunteers put in a lot of time. The professional crews, they've all got their eye on that flagpole. And when it hits the 2,000, you will hear in 9 minutes and 30 seconds a thing like you've never heard before. The helicopters are overhead. The volunteers have done their work. The professional crews have done it. The musicians, the dancers, the police, as I mentioned earlier, they have consumed 7,000 gallons of coffee. This is something to see. Times Square is a year-round attraction. There's no doubt about it. It is one of the places to see. The first movie theater that presented a talkie was here in 1927. And now, of course, you got dozens and dozens of movie houses everywhere, 40 legitimate theaters in the area, 250 restaurants, if you can believe that, and there are 12,500 hotel rooms in the area. We've got 9 minutes to go until the ball drops. Speaking of hotel rooms, 90,000 citywide, so New York City can throw a party. You know, the nice thing about this is these people have not been allowed to bring in alcohol. They're having a great time on their own. They're conversing, having intimate conversation, but they're screaming and yelling. They got their crazy wigs on and their glasses. They're just happy to be here. And as 1999 passes into 2000, we're going to remember certainly the Latin music take over, the female singers take over, the boy band take over, and things like the Blair Witch Project. I wonder what they would have said if they'd seen the ball. Bruce Springsteen's $53 million tour. It's been a big year in entertainment. It's a big night here in Times Square. This is the year of the Internet Impact, $1 million game shows, Santana's return, wrestling's return. By the way, as we watch the ball up there, do you have any idea? Yeah, it's 7 minutes to go, and we got just a second here. The BMI people, the folks who publish or keep track of a lot of the music, christened the top song of the century is "You've Lost That Love and Feeling." The Righteous Brothers sing. Ascop's top song of the century was "Happy Birthday to You," if you can believe it or not. Once again, let us thank a wonderful ABC crew for putting all of this extraordinary coverage of the millennium around the world, and especially here in Times Square together. Larry Klein's been our producer for goodness knows how many years. Bob McKinnon is our director. Dave Clark is the executive senior producer of the ABC television crew, and they've done a phenomenal job. That stage there in the middle has been the site of a lot of entertainment today. And as you see these giant billboards, they're all over the place. Back in the 1930s, Benny Goodman was the guy here. Just yesterday, as of 1942, Frank Sinatra appeared at the Paramount Theater for a 4-week engagement, and they extended it for 4 more weeks. Right here in the center of Times Square. In the 1950s, we had the first rock and roll shows. Alan Freed was here. And in 1983, you talk about big crowds. Big crowds. Central Park was inundated with people. That's when Diana Ross was there. And in 1997, Garth Brooks was there. Every eye is on the ball at 6 minutes and 40 seconds to ball drop and counting down. The weather tonight is perfect. I mean, look at them. They're not all bundled up. You can't even hardly see the breath in the air. I mean, usually they're rubbing themselves, hugging themselves, trying to stay warm. This is a walk in the park this year. Temperatures are in the mid-30s. A little earlier we said 37. It's probably down around 35 or 36 now. But they are not paying any attention at all to the weather. They're in a party mood. Now, all of these balloons and the funny-looking Mylar wigs and all were handed out by the Business Improvement District here, and they have done an extraordinary job of really putting things together here. It's a wonderful, wonderful party, and certainly one that will be long remembered for many, many years to come. I've just heard from the control room that it is still 37 degrees. And as I say, you would think it was in the mid-50s in terms of these. Look, they don't even have their hats on tonight. I'm still looking for that guy who's out there without his shirt on. There is always one guy, no matter what the weather is, who's out there hanging around. What are they shouting about? Let me check this out. There's a huge cry. I guess they saw the ball wiggle or something. I tell you, they can't wait. It's only 5 minutes away. I don't know if you can hear the helicopters hanging overhead, but they're up there. You know, each night, 6 million volts of electricity are shot through these extraordinary signs here. There are 300 miles of neon there. Billions and billions of visitors have come to this area since 1904. You can hear the music building in the background. They got this surround sound this year. All sorts of sound and confetti and other doodads will happen as we go along. 500 dancers, actors, musicians, and puppeteers. 7 giant screen TVs. 160 puppets, 57 banners. 500 3-foot balloons have been distributed, and 100,000 handouts, which include pom-poms and leis and wigs and flags. They've all gotten their little party souvenirs, and they're having a great old time.
This is Clyde Lee along with Dion Willis. Don't worry, we're not leaving Dick Clark. We just want to let you know that we're going to see what's going on in Indianapolis, too, when we switch over to the new year.
It's a tale of two cities, crossroads of the world, the crossroads of the Midwest, and we will take you live to both simultaneously.
Well, there ain't nothing like the ball in Times Square. Crossroads of the world in New York City. This is the place to be, believe you me. I wish I had the balloon concession, but those were all given away free tonight, isn't that right? Happy-looking group of people. Notice the ages, though, didn't I see? It is a young person's game. In order to stand out here for 10 or 12 hours, you got to have a lot of stamina. And the police have arranged the porta potties on the side streets and all. They've accommodated the people who couldn't get into the square. They've worked it out so people can move around with ease, and we're just less than 3 minutes away from probably the biggest sound you will ever hear as the Millennium ball drop happens. I mean, I've seen a lot of them, but I've never seen the size of a crowd like this. If indeed this is 2 million people, there are only 3 cities in the United States that are bigger than this crowd: Chicago, New York, and LA. This is big, really big. They talked about 3 million people on the beaches in Rio. They can stretch them out a long way up and down that beach down there. They're a little cozy down here. Yeah, say hi to Mom. She's watching you on TV. 2 minutes and 20 seconds. Every single person in this crowd is watching for that thing to move. It's all computerized now. In the old days, you used to drop it with a nylon clothes cord with 3 guys and a Mickey Mouse watch. It's all computerized now, highly technical. A couple of years ago when they first started, we had a minor glitch. Talking about why Y2K things this year. A couple of years ago when it was computerized, we were a little bit late. I think we lost it by about 2 seconds that year, and boy, did it hit the papers. As I wave to television, turn around now, watch the ball. That's Spirit. You think she heard me? That's a funny look. Look at them. They're all the way up to Central Park, all the way down to 42nd Street. This is a massive New Year's Eve crowd with 1 minute and 30 seconds left. Listen to the music build. They're ready. They're in their sombreros. That's our street cam. We've got 25 cameras here tonight covering this event. This is a really big one. You are wise to stay at home. In 1 minute, the ball will drop and you will see pandemonium. Listen to him. The ball is beginning to move. They can feel it. They know it. In 47 seconds, it will be 2,000. You're in Times Square with a couple of million intimate friends. 35 seconds. They're ready in 30. Get close to somebody you love. In 25 seconds, it'll be the new year. In 20 seconds. And we're going to count it down from here down when we get to 10. Are you ready? Happy New Year early. In 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Happy 2000! Looks like a blizzard there. That's 3,500 pounds of confetti being fired by cannons from 13 different locations. Our cameras can hardly see through the paper. Happy New Year! Amongst all of this happiness, I wanted to make one note of a passing this last year of a dear man, Mr. Leonard Goldenson, who put together the ABC television network and stood by my side and made my professional life everything it turned out to be. He was an extraordinary man, a wonderful entrepreneur, a visionary, and he will be sorely missed. Mr. Goldenson, thank you, sir. Well, they're in a party mood. Can you imagine how long this thing is going to last? Can you imagine how much work it's going to take to clean this mess up? Whee! They're partying in the ABC room, but you got a whole night ahead of you. This is magnificent coverage going on here for the ABC 2000 event. The people here in Times Square will continue to party on into the wee hours. You can count it. They're taking pictures of each other, celebrating. They're in a festive mood if ever there was one. Going to preserve that on his home video there. You won't find a happier group of people anywhere in the world. And it'll be very interesting tomorrow to see if the official estimate is 2 million. I can usually tell. Years and years ago, I could sort of judge it by looking up and down the street. You can't take an individual head count, but I'd say, well, 500,000 people are here, and sure enough, it would appear in the paper the next day to confirm it. I have no more idea in a billy goat how many people are here tonight, but it's a lot. This is the biggest New Year's Eve crowd I've ever seen in the almost 30 years I've been hanging around here. Once again, congratulations to the NYPD. They do an extraordinary job. The city of New York throws the biggest party in the world. It's orderly, it's happy, it's well controlled. Beautiful job. And once again, thank you for allowing me to be a part of your New Year's Eve. Peter Jennings, Happy New Year early. I'll see you soon, sir.
Thank you, Dick, very much. Thank you, Dick Clark, very much for a wonderful evening and a wonderful celebration to all of us, not only in New York, but across the country. Dick Clark, without whom we would not want to have a New Year's celebration in Times Square. And sure, those of us who are here are just a little biased as to whether it was the biggest or the best celebration. Wherever you were, we hope it was the biggest and best celebration. People here waited for 19 hours. And hey, listen, this was the way the vote went. Happy New Year to you all across the country and across any other country that happens to be watching us. We had a great time. As I said, they waited 19 hours here in Times Square to share a moment like this, and they waited in every other city in the world to have a happy millennium moment as well. And now we're going to take a break and then work our way all the way across America. Thanks for being with us.
From around the world, this is ABC 2000. Once again from Times Square in New York, Peter Jennings.
As you know, if you've been with us throughout the day or even for parts of the day, we've been making a series of millennium phone calls to people in various parts of the world. I have to tell you, we had hoped to talk to Sean Connery about Hogmanay in Scotland and give us the meaning of Scotland. We got so preoccupied with what was going on along the Thames and so swept away by that great event that we've just had a message from Mr. Connery saying he's out of range. He means it kindly, and we thank him for even agreeing to play with us this evening. And we're very happy to include in our Millennium phone call list one of America's best-loved actors, Alan Alda, who has spent the evening with his family and friends at his home in Bridgehampton, New York. Hi, Alan.
Hello, Peter.
Happy New Year to you, first of all.
Thank you. Happy New Year.
And how did you spend the evening? Who all was there?
Well, we spent it with you. We had you projected on the wall above our fireplace. Your face was about 4 feet tall.
Well, I know you're very, very family-oriented. Did you have your kids and your grandchildren there?
Yes, yes. When the ball landed on the building, I was dancing with my 2.5-year-old granddaughter. It was a wonderful evening.
Well, that's fantastic. Alan, you're one of the people who's had such a wonderful interest in the world. As you look back over almost any period of time you choose, what rushes to mind, if anything?
As I look back over the time, you're saying the time that
yes.
We spent before we got to this millennium.
Yes.
Well, it's an interesting question to me because tonight we played a game where we were trying to figure out the greatest inventions in the last 2,000 years. And you almost can't name any single one, except what your show has been doing all day long and will do through the night is an example of one of the most remarkable things that's happened, I think, and that's the convergence of abilities to communicate globally. I mean, look at what that represents. Look at what your show alone is representing in terms of global communication. It shows how far we've come in the last, say, couple of 100 years. You could communicate at the speed of a horse 200 years ago, and now it's at the speed of light. And yet that cut that you made from the celebration in Moscow to the utter silence in that refugee camp in sub-Saharan Africa was, to me, a very moving image of how far we have to go if we're going to be around for another 1,000 years or 2,000 years. I mean, we have really important work to do, and it's monumental compared, I guess, compared to, say, communications that have achieved what they have to this point.
As you were sitting with your friends tonight, were you making New Year's resolutions?
Nobody seems to have made one. That seems to be probably have grown a great deal in the past 1,000 years if nobody made one tonight.
I agree. Well, thank you for staying up and talking to us. What are you looking forward to most in the future? And I know I'm going to say don't include your family and your kids because I know how strongly they feel, but what are you looking forward to most in the days ahead?
You know, I think one of the things that excites me the most is the internet and the ability to reach other people with what I know how to do. And I think, you know, as part of the entertainment community. And I think that I will probably be doing that, and most of us will be doing it through the internet in the coming years, and it's a very exciting thing. It must be the way people felt at the beginning of this century as the film opened up and then radio and eventually television. Right. It's thrilling to think of what can happen.
Here we are on the edge of another age of invention.
It really is extraordinary, and it moves so fast. It turns out that everything moved for the past couple of 100 years. It seems to me that this has been 1,000 years of acceleration. You know, Newton studied acceleration, and everybody else is practicing it, and we're moving faster and faster as we understand more and more about what moving faster means. We don't really know where we're headed. We're going so fast. We're all flying 1,000 miles an hour, and it's really exciting.
You make a point. Well, I've always thought you knew where you were going. I wish you and your family a very, very happy New Year. I know your passion with the internet. Try to stay off at least until tomorrow.
I have my computer shut down until tomorrow.
Thanks, Alan. Alan Alda.
Great to talk. You're doing a great job.
New Year's. Happy New Year's.
Happy New Year.
Alan Love, thanks very much. We'll continue our Millennium coverage in just a moment.